So before we take a look at the best money making trick in the game, I'm going to show you this thing where it's very important. You need a Ferrari F40, an Aston Martin 177, and an Enzo Ferrari to be in the Blue Moon Bay event, because out of all the fast top 3 cars in the game that participate in this event, they're actually the slowest out of the fastest. So this gives you the best chance of winning, and overall it's easier and there's less risk involved. So if you soft reset, like exit the event and come back in over and over again until you get one of the combinations in any order, it's best. Now if the Enzo Ferrari is in 3rd place, that's like the most optimum strategy because it is the fastest out of the 3. And just going over the tune here, the gearbox is specifically tuned for this event, and we'll see later on how driving this car is really difficult. So I'm just going to walk you through the event on how I do it. So starting off, this car has a rotary engine in it, so it can rev very high. So revving to about 215 or 214 kilometers an hour before you shift up into 4th allows for the best acceleration. And for this forced corner, it's very important. You can take this corner at about 190 as the fastest, while the other cars take them at about 190-ish. So I shift up early here on accident, and I also miss a shift. But coming out of the corner, you want to shift down to 3rd so you can get the most acceleration on the exit. Now for 4th gear, you want to shift at about 250 kilometers per hour. You can go a little bit faster, but it's risky. And then for 5th gear, you shouldn't have to worry about it because it won't max out. And for this corner, if you're overtaken on the outside, about 225 is the optimum overtaking. But if there's no cars, you want to corner at about 230. But if you're overtaken on the inside, you can also go around 230 as well. So now that we're up to speed, you want to brake at about the 100 meter board on the right side and dive down into the corner to get the best exit and overall best lap times. As you can see, we almost actually messed up at the beginning. The advantage there, or actually all cars, when you're exiting the first corner, it can actually sideswipe you against the wall and ruin your clean race. So you just gotta be careful when exiting the corners. You don't want to get too close to the other cars. So the last corner here is a 4th gear corner. You never want to shift down to 3rd. Only shift down to 3rd for the first corner. You always want to stay in 4th. And then around the line, if you're not in a draft, you'll shift up to 5th gear. And the optimum lap times is about 49.5 seconds. I mean, you can go lower in draft. You can get under 49s if you have good draft throughout the track and take the corners well. But if your lap times are averaging above 50, winning the race will be either impossible or just straight up super insanely difficult. So drafting around this corner, to take that corner you want to dive on the inside and make sure you never go above the first lane or else you'll just lose time. So some of these the slower cars back here, like the Vantage V8s and the Lexus LC500s, you can outrun, especially in the draft. But cars like the Porsche and the GT by Citroen, they can catch you in a draft and catch you off guard. Same with the M4. The M4 is actually a very fast car around here, but it's still a back of market car. Now the NSX is faster than you, and it is coming up, but in a draft you're faster than it. So you just gotta be careful, because that's one of the cars that could sneak up on you and ruin your clean race. Now since you are going quite slow along the straights, cars do try and overtake you, so just be mindful. Use your radar if you're not sure, but they will try and dive up the inside. But as long as you have racing super soft tires on, you should always be able to go around the corners faster than them. And with my setup, it should be extremely easy to use, and hopefully should get you some wins and some pretty quick cash. So on the inside of the corners, there's that blue tarmac stuff. You always want to avoid it because it can mess up your line and can slow you down, or it can even flat out make you just spin and lose everything and have to restart, which is pretty annoying. But so the NSX, we're able to overtake it in the draft, but when it's out of the draft, it can keep up with us. And on the exit of this corner, most cars will actually slow down a bit because they don't have like super grippy tires. But during the corner, they are faster than you, so you do gotta watch out. So the NSX is coming up on our right, but we are in the draft of the Mercedes up here, which is faster than you in a straight line, even while drafting. So it's a very good draft car along the straights. To just pick up some extra time, or lower your time in the laps, and just overtake easily in the straights. So the Ferrari 458 is also faster than you in a straight line, even while you're in draft, and it does corner pretty fast compared to some other cars, so that's another car you gotta watch out for, as it can sneak up your inside and ruin your clean race. But we are kind of far away from it. And as for hitting walls along the exits of corners, if you slightly graze them enough to lose like 1 or 2 kilometers an hour, it will not count or take away from your clean race. But if you like full on hit it and lose like 10 kilometers an hour, it will ruin your clean race. So you do gotta watch out for that. So you will exit all the corners faster than all the other cars. And here, even if we're in the draft, I shift up early. Actually is a strategy to go faster around this corner. So shifting up early does lose us speed, but in the end it does go faster, because we get the huge draft of the Ferrari around the corner, and we're up to 265 before we enter this corner. And the Viper GTS is also faster than you in a straight line even while drafting, but it's actually one of the slowest cars around the straights. So there we get set a 48-second lap because of a huge draft we got from the Ferrari. Now the Huracan LP 610 is a bit of a weird car. It's kind of inconsistent in its like speeds, as sometimes it's faster than you in a straight line, but not all the time. It's kind of weird, but it's a very good drafting car because it often just ends up going the same speed as you, or going faster than you at the end of the straights. And slightly grazing cars won't actually lose you time, but if you like interrupt their course, like bump them pretty hard, it will ruin it. And most cars, when they enter the corner, leave enough space for you to still go around the outside no matter what. So even though he breezes past us around the corner, he leaves us enough room on the outside where we can brake a lot earlier because of our tires, and we're such a light car that we can just gain 2 seconds out of the corner from him. So what you're looking for when you're going for consistency is the sector 1, so the first corner up to the timing line is about 16.5 seconds. Try and keep it under 17 for consistency. And then the second sector, which is just the second corner, try and keep that under 16 seconds. In a draft, you can get it down to 14 seconds if you get a really good draft, but for consistency's sake, just get it under 16. And then the overall lap time should be under 50 seconds. So if you keep that under, you should overtake the cars on the last couple of laps, depending on what car you do have. So the reason why the Enzo is the worst car to have, or the scariest car in this situation, is because it is the fastest out of the bottom 3 cars. So as you can see, the top 3 positions, the Ferrari F40 and the Enzo Ferrari and the 177 are all up there. Those are the fastest cars in this event right now, and they will outrun you, so don't try and draft or overtake them on the straights. Always stay in their draft. But the Enzo is the fastest in a straight line, reaching about 290 but under its own power, and over 300 in a draft down the big main straight. The 177 could go roughly the same speed, a little slower, around 290, and the F40 can only go in 280 under a draft. But they all go through the first corner at about 140 kilometers an hour, and then the second corner they do go flat out, but on the exit they do let off a bit, so they go around that corner about 260, and the final corner they slow right down to about 170, 180. Now before you overtake all the final cars or pass them, you will start to lap back marker cars like the V8 Vantages, the M4s, and the LC500s. Those can be really helpful on catching these guys because they do provide huge tows down the straight. They're pretty annoying in the corners. So even though they pull on us in the straights, we're already caught up to them just from one corner. But as you can see, they just leave you in the dust even in the draft. So these cars are very difficult to overtake on the straights, so just try not to do it. So they do let up a bit at the end of this corner, so you do gain a bit of time. But they lose a lot of time to you in this corner and the first corner. So this is where these are the corners that are the most important, where you absolutely want to make sure you get your lines and speeds right. And there I messed up the gear shift a little bit. I shifted up too early. That's probably just from muscle memory or instinct shifting when the car is redlining. Now the F40 is the best around corners out of all of them, and we almost do mess up there. See, he would have closed the door and pushed us up against the wall if we didn't slow down there. So around the corners, the F40 is the fastest car, so you do gotta watch out for that, as it can come and surprise you. But in the straights, as you can see, the Enzo and the 177 easily catch the F40. So in traffic, the Ferrari F40 is better, but by itself, the Enzo and 177 are the best cars that you'll face if you're soft resetting. So even though they're pulling on us and the 177 and Enzo are catching up to us, we just go around the outside of them in the corners. As you can see, the gap to second just increases to well over a second just from the corner. And that's pretty much all you want to do. That's the simplest way to win this. Just take the corners the best you can, make sure you have the best lines, and shift at the right spots. Now if you do not want to reset for this specific lineup for cars, and you say go up against a McLaren F1, it is possible to beat it, but it is very close. As you can see, I thought that was the last lap and accidentally didn't shift, and I was looking back at them. But there's still one more lap, so thankfully we didn't mess up too bad. But anyway, so the McLaren F1, you can beat it. It's very difficult. You need to get optimum drafts and like drive out of your mind. So I don't really recommend it. And as for the Veyron and the LaFerrari, they're even faster than the Enzo, so beating them is pretty much impossible. And the Veneno is also faster than the Enzo, but around the corners it's a lot slower. And it seems more of an inconsistent car in its lap times. As you can see, we hit the BMW, almost messing up our race right at the end. But yeah, so the Veneno you don't want to face, McLaren you don't want to face, LaFerrari and Veyron you don't want to face. So we do win this race, and luckily that tangle with the BMW right at the end doesn't actually give us a penalty or anything to deduct from our clean race. So as long as you keep your race under 12 minutes and 30 seconds, you should win. And as you can see, we get a huge payout. So this car is an N200, which winning this race gives us a 170% bonus. And a clean race with 50% in total gives us a 220% bonus, which is 405,000 credits and almost 9,000 experience. So even if you don't have a clean race, you'll still get a ton of experience from this race as long as you come in first. So if you're worried about experience, this is the place to grind. If you're worried about money, just be more careful when you're racing. And make sure you have a clean race and you'll get a lot more money. So these are the final calculations that I'm using. So one race takes 12 minutes and 30 seconds, and you get 405,000 credits for a clean race. Now in 1 hour and 2 minutes, you can make 2,025,000 credits. So it's not the most efficient way. It's actually very difficult. So overall, this method is it could use some improvement. but I will be making another video on how to make roughly 2.4 million credits an hour. I believe that will be the most efficient method without cheating to make credits in this game. I know HSG makes a lot of videos on the Blue Moon Bay event with different cars, but he's yet to do one in an N200 car, so I thought I would just throw mine out there, test the waters for my next video. So if you did enjoy or find this helpful, please leave a like down below. It makes it so I want to make more, and don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Anyways, thanks and bye.